I'm Rachel Lindsay Bush, and I'm the next guest On Screen and Beyond.
On Screen and Beyond, an inside look into the entertainment world featuring interviews with people from the movie, TV, and music industry, news on upcoming TV and DVD releases, and the rumor mill. And now, here's the host of On Screen and Beyond, Brian Zemrak.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of On Screen and Beyond, the show that brings you a celebrity guest each week from the movie, TV, or music industry, as well as keeping you updated on what's coming your way as far as remakes, sequels, prequels, upcoming new movies, TV and movie DVD releases, and the rumor mill. A lot of things going on there, and here we are at episode 751. I'm your host, Brian Zemrak. And we once again are heading over to the little house on the prairie, this time with our guest, Rachel Lindsay Bush, who shared the role of Carrie Ingalls with her twin sister, Sidney. They were labeled as Lindsay, Sidney, Greenbush. Okay, so there's a story behind that. We'll find out about that. And Rachel's going to be joining us in just a few minutes right here on Screen and Beyond. And I'm so glad you joined me today. I hope that you had a chance to listen to last week's episode. We had Melissa Manchester here, and she was a lot of fun to have. Gave us a lot of information about her music and everything else and people she's worked with. A lot of fun. Be sure to check that one out, episode 750 with Melissa Manchester. And I hope you'll subscribe to and follow us on your favorite podcast platform, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Facebook or Instagram. And that will help get you all the new episodes as soon as they're released by subscribing. It doesn't cost anything. It's just that as soon as that podcast platform gets it, when I load it up, they will send it right out to you and you won't miss anything. You don't wonder, well, when it's another episode coming out, because it's going to come to you immediately and you won't miss a single one of our fascinating guests. So be sure to do that for us, please. And while you're at it, tell your friends about On Screen and Beyond. I'm sure they, would enjoy hearing some of these people, and share our post on the socials as, so they all can hear or see some of your favorite celebrities talk about their careers. And of course, you've for the past 19 years, you've been able to listen to On Screen and Beyond. And just this past year, we started doing the video version. So, you get your choice there of what you want to see or listen to. Of course, On Screen and Beyond now has the video version, like I said, as well as the audio vision. And you can get the video version on Spotify or YouTube. That's the only place you can get it right now. Our audio you can get on just about any platform, a podcast platform. So be sure to check those out. If you have a question or a suggestion for a guest, you can email me at feedback@onscreenandbeyond.com. And thank you for sending all that, the great suggestions you've been giving me and the things that you've said. I love hearing from you. Just keep it up. And I will continue to try and get those people on the show. Sometimes it's very difficult if they don't have anybody who's their publicist or anything like that. But, I try to search them out. And if you have a suggestion for somebody and they have, a website or something, you can let me know about it and see if we can get them on here. Well, let's get started with what's going on in the world of entertainment. It's time for remakes, sequels, and prequels right here on Screen and Beyond.
Please hang up and try again.
Remakes, sequels, and prequels. Well, the new Spaceball 2 movie with Mel Brooks has announced some of the cast members. Rick Moranis is going to be returning along with Bill Pullman and also Daphne Zuniga. And, of course, Mel Brooks himself. Josh Gad is also going to be joining the cast as well. He's going to be co-writing the film. And Lewis Pullman and Keke Palmer will also be in the cast. November 14th in theaters. You can look for Now You See Me, Now You Don't with Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, and Dave Franco and Morgan Freeman. Wicked for Good flies into theaters on November 21st. October 10th, Roofman with Channing Tatum, Kristen Dunst, and Peter Dinklage will be climbing into the big screen, and Glenn Powell stars in the remake of Running Man in theaters on November 14th. That's it for remake, sequels, and prequels. Coming up next on Screen and Beyond, it's what's coming your way as far as upcoming new movies. Upcoming new movies, Sydney Sweeney will star in the thriller The Housemaid along with Amanda Seyfried. And as perfection is an illusion and everything is not as it seems. Margot Martindale, past guest here at On Screen and Beyond, will join Millie Bobby Brown in Just Picture It as two college students' phones start showing them pictures of themselves from 10 years in the future as a happily married couple with kids. Sounds like an interesting one. And Josh Brolin will star in an action comedy called Mister. That's it for upcoming new movies. Let's take a look at movies and TV on DVD and streaming. Movies and TV on DVD and streaming. It looks like 1997's Anaconda with Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube, and Jon Voight will be getting the 4K limited edition steelbook release on December 9th. Starting October 10th, the first two episodes of Apple TV Plus's The Last Frontier will debut. It's a 10-episode show, and it goes through December 10th. On Fridays, as a U.S. Marshal must protect the sleepy Alaskan town from a bunch of violent inmates being transported by plane, and they escape when the plane crashes in a remote wilderness area. October 14th, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning rides on to DVD and 4K. Smurfs lands on DVD and Blu-ray on October 28th. And also on October 28th, The Toxic Avenger with Peter Dinklage and Kevin Bacon arrives on Blu-ray and 4K. And that's it for movies and TV on DVD and streaming. It's TV and entertainment time next. TV and entertainment time, Luke Wilson and Will Ferrell will team up for an upcoming Netflix golf comedy series. And Ferrell will play a fictional golf legend named Lonnie the Hawk Hawkins. December 5th, look for the 2-episode premiere of Spartacus, House of Asher. And it's the next chapter in the world of Spartacus on Starz. Episodes will be released on Fridays. And Mark Cherry, creator of Desperate Housewives, is working on a new series for Netflix. They haven't released the name yet. It's a new drama show set in Charleston, South Carolina. That's it for TV and entertainment time. And it is time once again to hook up the wagon and head over to the Little House on the Prairie and visit the Ingalls family with our guest, Carrie Ingalls. Rachel Lindsay Bush is next, right here on Screen and Beyond. Today on Screen and Beyond, our guest is the actress who, along with her twin sister Sidney, played the role of Carrie Ingalls on the hit TV show Little House on the Prairie. On December 12th through the 14th, 2025, she'll be in Simi Valley, California for the final 50th anniversary reunion of Little House on the Prairie, with many of the other cast members from the show. It's Rachel Lindsay Bush, or as she was credited on the show, Lindsay Sidney Greenbush. Rachel, Lindsay, Carrie, whoever, welcome to On Screen and Beyond.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It gets very confusing. And
yes.
and seeing you two on screen, it was very confusing too, because a lot of people, I don't think, really realized that there were two, because you were credited as as Lindsay Sidney, correct?
Correct. So people still don't know that we were twins. They still think it was one person. And I don't know how it happened that it turned out to be Lindsay Sidney. I was just thinking maybe that when they were doing the title credits, that maybe they had a character limitation, and they didn't have enough characters, so they took the "and" out. I'm not sure. Greenbush used to be 2 words too. My father's an actor. His name is Billy Green Bush. And so we actually did Sunshine as Green Bush with it being two names. But when we did the TV series, it got moshed. The pilot, it's two names. But then in the TV series, it got pushed together. So it forever changed my screen name.
You're confusing me right now. Just
I know. I know. It gets very confusing.
yeah. Now, when this all was happening, did you realize it, or did you not even really pay attention to the credits?
I was too young at that time. I was only 3, so I
Oh,
wasn't
geez.
paying attention to the credits at all. It
Yeah.
was later, we just always wondered why that had happened.
Yeah.
But I think it gets doubly confusing because we are twins, and so it makes it more confusing because they're like, "Wait, which one are you?" Um, all our friends and family called us Rachel and Robin, and Rachel is my given first name, so that's not so confusing. But my sister, Sidney, her middle name is Robin, but friends and family always called us Rachel and Robin. So that makes it like really confusing too, because people will be like, why is she calling you Robin? I thought your name was Sidney.
Wow. Did anybody ever call you Carrie? I mean,
But yeah, a lot of times.
wow, that's that for a little kid that could be very confusing.
I know, but somehow it just wasn't. It's just the way life was.
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's now. What was the age that you were? Did you start at age 3, or how long were you on the show? And what were the ages that you were in that time period?
We were just about to turn 4. We were 3 when we did the pilot. And then we were 12 when the show ended. So
Wow.
we spent 8 years on Little House on the Prairie.
Hmm. Wow. That's that's really something, to be on, and especially on a show like that. So when you started, you really had no idea what was going on.
No, and it's funny because in some of the early shows, there's one scene where Carrie tips over a bowl full of eggs that are sitting in the kitchen. And so you can kind of see somebody off screen giving me direction to go tip the bowl over. And so when I tip the bowl over, I have this huge smile on my face because I think I was good because I did what somebody told me to do. And then Karen rushes out of the kitchen and she's like, "Oh, Carrie, what'd you do?" And she's so upset. And I'm like, I don't know what did I do. Like, I didn't know I was doing something wrong.
Wow. Yeah. So when were you always the major? I don't want to say the major one, but the one who was playing Carrie most of the time, or did they have a time limit per episode, or how did that work?
Well, the reason they use twins for younger age children is because California has labor laws that protect children in the entertainment industry. Children in field working and in the entertainment industry are actually exempt from federal labor laws. So it's up to each state to pass laws to protect the children. And California and New York, and there's a few others, have laws in place to protect the children. So the law in California is that a child of that age can only work 3 hours a day. So they would schedule the first child to come in at 8 o'clock and be in front of the camera for 3 hours, and then they would break for lunch, and then they could use the second child in the afternoon to be in front of the camera. So they're still getting an 8-day shoot,
Mhm.
but they're using two children, and that's why that's done. But um, we were just so young. We were born right into it. My mom was a model and an actress, and my dad was an actor who was making a name for himself. And so it just, I guess, was a natural progression for us to go into the entertainment industry.
Did you want to be an actress? But you really had no choice at that point. You were just a little kid, and So how did it come about that you got on Little House? I'm sure somebody has told you the story at some point.
Yeah, so my dad had a really good friend. My mom and dad had really good friends, Dina and Milt Coogan, and they had a son, Gavin, who was my brother's age, and their daughter, Tatey, who was my sister and my age. And so we used to go over there with them all the time. And Milt, he was a doctor, but he wanted to be an actor. And so he asked my dad, well, what do you think? And my dad said, well, I think you have a really great look. You could be a great character actor. So my dad set up an appointment for Milt Coogan to read for his agent to see if the agent would carry him in the office and send him on casting calls. So fast forward, Milt's sitting in my father's casting agent's office, waiting to read for them, and a telephone call comes over, and the receptionist picks up the phone. And she has a little bit of an argument with the people on the phone. And she hangs up the phone and she kind of looks at Milt, who's sitting in the reception area waiting to read for the agent, and says, I have the perfect 3-year-old child for them, but they want twins and they're insistent on twins. They have to have twins. And she goes, where am I going to find twin girls? And Milt goes, well, Billy Green Bush has twin daughters that age. You might call him and see if he's interested, in using them in the business or hiring them to do in the business. And so she goes, oh, okay. So that's kind of how we got our start. So that was for Sunshine, which was directed by Joe Sargent and starred Cliff DeYoung. Bill Mumy was in it as well. And so we got into the industry that way. Once we were filming that, there's a scene where the end credits go where my sister's riding a motorcycle with Cliff DeYoung, and it kind of freezes and the credits roll. And I think Michael saw that. And so then he wanted us to come in and read for Little House on the Prairie because we were twins. Twins weren't as common at that time. And we had already done one show. And so he wanted to see how workable we were or if we were easy to work with. But my mom, because my older brother was 2 years older than us, and he was always on the go, always on the go. And so anytime anybody said one of us twins were cute, my mom was like, oh, sure, you want to hold them here? Like, here, hold them, hold them, hold them. So we were so used to being held by all these different people that when it came to being separated from our mom to be in front of the camera, we never cried. It never fazed us to be held by strangers because we were so used to it, which ended up being a blessing.
Yeah. Wow.
I ended up playing Carrie a few more times than Robin because Sidney ended up having a bone cyst in her upper left arm. And she broke her arm 7 times in where that bone cyst is. So every time she had a cast on, she couldn't work. So then I would have to work because she couldn't work because she had the cast. So I did play Carrie more often, but that's kind of the reasoning why, is because Robin had the cast on her arm so many times.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. And now I read something, and of course you can never believe everything you read, but you actually both appeared on screen together in an episode. Is that true?
That's true. It's an episode called the God Sister. And it was when green screens were just new and kind of on the cutting edge of film. And so we would appear together, but there was all kinds of projected stuff behind us. It was a really neat experience. So one time we go to heaven, and one time we try and pick up a big penny, and I get chased by this big, ugly, horrible spider. So it was a fun episode because we didn't ever get to work together. So it was the one time we did get to work together.
Yeah.
Because I think when they did Parent Trap, the original Parent Trap,
Yeah.
it was only one girl, and they used to trade back and forth with her playing the different roles. But we actually got to be on screen together.
Yeah. So how old were you when you did that episode?
I believe we were 8 or 9 when we did that episode.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dean Butler. I played Almanzo Wilder on Little House on the Prairie, and I'm on Screen and Beyond.
So as you went through the show, did you get close with the rest of the cast? Did you feel more like a family, after you realized what you were doing?
Yeah, well, I think we always did. When you read Melissa Gilbert's book, she tells how she thought that Robin and I were like her little baby play dolls, and she would come and read us books all the time. And you can see in some of the films where she looks down at me and smiles, and she'll grab my hand and have me walk with her. And those were all very genuine and natural feelings for her. She just loved having us there. And to this day, I think we're still really close. Just it's unusual, but we are like a big family, and we always talk about it so much. And when my husband and I got married, I didn't even know that Karen knew that my husband and I had gotten married. We just had this small little ceremony celebration for friends and family. And all of a sudden, I get this package in the mail, and my husband's all, what'd you buy now? I'm like, I didn't buy anything. I don't know what it is. And I opened it, and it was two really plush, beautiful bath towels from Karen as a wedding gift. And I didn't even know that she knew that I got married, but we still feel like family to this day.
Yeah. Now, there's another thing that I read about, and like I say, you can never be sure if things that are written on the internet are true. But is it true that you and your husband actually met thanks to Little House on the Prairie?
Yes, it is true. So we were filming an episode called The Wolves, and Michael used to let Danny be on the set because Danny would just watch and he wouldn't disrupt the set or cost them time or film or anything like that. He would just quietly watch, and he had made friends with Melissa and Allison and some of the crew members and stuff like that. But the
He
one
just
time
lived
that we
near the where they were filming.
Yeah, where Tapo Ranch was, it's called Big Sky Ranch now, but it was Tapo Canyon Ranch back when we were filming there. Um, you turn on that road, and to go to Danny's house, you would keep going straight farther back in the canyon. So to go to school or anything like that, he passed that road. He went right past it. So he used to watch, and then we were filming the wolves, and it was the close up on Mary when she was churning butter. And usually the crew would sit close, but not be in the camera lens or in the scene. So we were all sitting underneath the big oak trees in the shade right by the Ingalls house while they filmed the close up on Mary. And so we got up to move to break to go somewhere else, and Danny walked by us, and we looked up and we said hi to him, and he said hi to us. And that's when we first met. And I was 7, and he was 14
Hmm.
at that time.
Yeah. And is it true that you got married at the spot that you met?
We did. We reconnected back in 2007 was when we met each other again, and then we started dating in 2008. In 2014, we went and got married underneath the tree where we first met by Plum Creek, right by
Wow.
the Ingalls homestead,
Wow.
where we originally met. Yeah, it
I mean,
was.
that sounds, like something you'd see in a movie.
I know, right? I have to say Danny was the mastermind because he wanted to get married there. He's like, I want to get married underneath the tree where we first met. And I'm like, yeah, that would be really neat. That'd be great. And then he just took the reins and made it happen. So
Wow. I mean, and that's very romantic. I mean,
yeah,
you got to give him kudos for that.
I do.
So now the whole time you were on Little House, as you grew older, are there any particular memories, funny things that happened along the way that you remember?
Well, Michael was a big jokester. He loved to pull jokes and pranks and stuff like that. And so we used to go catch frogs. So in the pond, it had a recirculating pump in Plum Creek next to the Ingalls home. And when we weren't there filming, it was not circulating. So all kinds of frogs and tadpoles and moss and all that kind of stuff would be in there. So we'd go catch these frogs, and we'd take these frogs to Mike, and Mike would put them in his mouth. And then he'd walk up to people and let these frogs jump out of his mouth at people. It's like, ew. But we used to get such a kick out of it.
Wow.
Um, we would be shooting a dinner scene, and it'd be a close up like on me and Melissa. and Mike would be off camera to deliver his lines to Melissa and have a conversation, Melissa Gilbert, that is. And he would know that he got the copy or the print that he wanted, but he wouldn't tell us. And so he'd have us going again and again. But pretty soon he'd be picking up like the peas on his plate and like flicking them at us and like flinging food at us. And her and I are trying not to break character to keep it going, right? Because we didn't know, we were just kids. And pretty soon he would start laughing. Because he was a practical joker that way.
Wow. And there again, that's another thing that probably was very confusing when they'd say, "Hey, Melissa, you're on set." Which Melissa?
Um, you know, it wasn't, it doesn't seem that way, but I think they called Melissa Sue, I think, had the nickname Missy for a while. I always called her Melissa, but I think they called her Missy for a while. And so I think Mike did call Melissa Gilbert half pint sometimes off screen as well. So
That made it
it was
easier.
just, I don't know, it just seemed normal.
Yeah. Wow. Huh. Yeah. Well, like you say, between the confusion of your names and the Melissas and everything else, it must have been the set must have been very confusing.
Right. And then we have Melissa Francis later, and then we've got two Allisons, and yeah.
Two Allisons? I can't.
Yeah, both Nancy and Nellie. One's Allison with one L, and the other is Allison with two L's. Like,
Okay,
so
okay.
you
Yeah, I
have
mean,
Allison
Allison has
Army,
been,
Allison
I say Allison has been on before. Allison Arngrim has been on, and Dean has been on the show many times. Yeah, so I've had quite a few of the different people from Little House, and it's always nice to have you on because it was such a great show. It was just a very heartwarming show.
Yeah, it was a great show, and in some ways he tackled a lot of issues of the day that weren't really talked about at the time. And I think I appreciate the show more now than when I was a kid doing the show. But then when you're an adult and you have a family, kids, or maybe nieces and nephews, you kind of start to see the world differently, right?
Hmm.
You kind of start to take appreciation for those kind of things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I was younger, and my sisters would be watching or something, and I don't care about Little House, but I'd watch it, and it was good, but now you watch it, and like you say, you're saying, wow, they dealt with this or they dealt with that, and but they did it in such a way that it wasn't hitting you over the head, but you realize those things were happening.
Yeah, and and just the fact that, some of the characters had their own music that set the mood and the tone, and they were almost like little movies more so than episodes, because all of a sudden like the dark music would come in, you're like, uh-oh, something bad's gonna happen, or um Victor French, Mr. Edwards will go dancing down the road, and then he's singing old Dan Tucker, and it was just a really unique time and place. It was really done well.
Now, Victor French, he seemed, from what the character we've seen him in, and on other shows that he was on, he just seemed to be a nice guy, but almost like a jokester. Was he like that in real life?
He was very playful. He was very playful. He was a great guy, very fun-loving, easygoing, charismatic. He was a really neat person, Victor French was.
Mhm. And now they're starting to talk about the new version of Little House. What do you think about that?
I think it's wonderful because it's going to introduce Little House on the Prairie and Laura in her books, and some of the important messages that she has and tells in her books, to a new audience in a new way. I think their vision of really having something cohesive that brings the love of the books and the movie together is really neat. And the way that films are made today is so different than the way it was done in the 70s. Just the way that they use drones now to do these big cinematic scapes where you could like be above the wagon following them down this big huge open expanse of prairie, right?
Hmm.
I mean, it's different. So I really look forward to it. I think it's going to be really good. um and and people should approach it with an open mind, because it's not meant to be the same, and it's not meant to be an extension of what we did. It's its own vision and project and stuff like that. So people should just keep an open mind and watch it with a clean slate and no anticipation of or preconceived ideas.
Yeah, yeah. And like you mentioned about the drone shots and everything like that, and I'm thinking like, what would it have cost to do that shot? A certain shot that we see nowadays back when your show was on. I mean, they would have had to have planes and everything else. The cost would have been tremendous. Now a drone can be done for a very, very low price compared to that, I'm sure.
Right. And the cameras on them are so detailed and phenomenal. It really changed a lot of things. I know that when we filmed Meet Me by the Fair and my sister is the one up in the balloon, I have pictures of them so hanging the balloon basket from a crane, but then we have another platform next to it that has the camera on it shooting across,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
From the one crane platform to where the basket was hanging, so you could get that it was off the ground and in the air, and so those kind of things were very costly and expensive to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, things have changed so much and how they can do it. I mean, people can do it with their iPhone now, film a TV show with that, and
Right.
the quality is the same. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, not that they're going to need these aspects, but even the stuff where they do with the green screens and stuff like that, like with Lord of the Rings, and when they had the big armies and landscapes and all that kind of thing, it's just incredible what they can do, not just with drones, but with computer imaging and stuff like that. They probably will be more of an organic nature, because it's Little House on the Prairie and stuff like that, but they're going to reflect that, the pioneers, it was a hard life.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't an easy life. It was a hard life, and to travel by wagon is very slow. And my husband and I were just talking, if you broke a wheel coming across the prairie and you didn't have the wood to fix it or the tools, I mean, I guess you'd have to get on a horse and ride for miles till you could get another one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just a really different time and place.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Dan Lauria, and this is On Screen and Beyond.
Now, December 12th through the 14th, you are going to be having the final. And I understand you've had a lot of these. Have you been going to the reunions that they've been having all over the place?
I haven't been to too many of them. I did do the one that was here in Simi in 2024. I will be in Strathern and Simi in December of this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's some VIP talks that are going on, and Santa Claus is going to be there, and there's going to be decorating of the tree, and of course, there's going to be meet and greets with all the cast members, and they're constantly adding more things to the event. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds. I mean, I'm looking over the list of things that are going to go on. It just there again. It sounds fun and wholesome. It's not, it's Little House is what it
You're right.
sounds like.
And that's what it's geared towards being, a family, wholesome, holidays, all that kind of stuff wrapped up into one. And if people want to check it out, you can go to littlehouseCastReunions.com and you can see the list of the events and what's happening and keep up to date. They might even have a newsletter that they're putting out. I'm not sure, but it'll
Mhm.
have all the information there.
Yep. Yeah. I know, like I say, I've had Dean on and I've had Allison on. And they've both spoken about the things that have gone over through the past year here. But this one sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. It really does.
I think it is. I think it's going to be a great fun, and I think that it's going to be around Christmas time. Just gives it another like some more icing to that cake, right? Because they're going to show Christmas at Plum Creek, and then they're going to show Christmas that they never forgot and stuff like that. And I think Christmas they never forgot is the episode where we get snowed in, and then they show a lot of clips from like past years and stuff like that. And then of course, Christmas at Plum Creek is one of my favorite ones, where Laura gets the stove for Ma, and you know that's a really good one. And they're going to air these, so you can watch them while you're there too.
Yeah.
Um, you never know. Sometimes the cast members sneak in the back and watch them too.
Now, do you like seeing yourself on screen?
Yes and no. I mean, sometimes I think, oh my God, I'm such a dork.
Yeah. Well, Rachel, I want to finish up with just one final question. But before I do that, I want to let people know that if they go to Little House on the Prairie cast reunions with an S.com, they can get all the information about what's going to be going on December 12th through the 14th. It's going to be a lot of fun, and they should definitely check that out. But taking us away from all the things that you did at Little House and such a great show, when you sit back and relax now, what are your favorite TV shows now and of the past when you were young? And what's your favorite movies now and of the past? What do you enjoy?
Oh, let's see. Um, well, we watch a lot of detective shows now. I can't wait. The Sherlock Holmes series was really good. We really love that. I read a lot more books than I probably watch TV, but there's Wheel of Time. I love this series, but I stopped watching it because I wanted to read the books first. And then everybody said that they changed them a lot from the books. And Discovery of Witches was really good too, but I stopped. I stopped that series, although I loved it so much and it was cast so well, because I wanted to read the All Souls trilogy books and then come back to the series. So sometimes I did the same thing with A Walk in the Woods, the movie that Robert Redford did. I love that movie so much. Him and Nick Nolte, that I went and got the book and I read it. I think Allison loaned it to me. She had just gotten it, and I think she loaned it to me. But we like Westerns a lot. We like to watch Unforgiven is one of my favorite Westerns.
Good
And
film.
of course, Jeremiah Johnson. Um, um, what's the other one I'm thinking of? But anyway, we watch a lot of Westerns and detective shows and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
When I
Well,
was a kid, though, I used to love um, What's Happening, and
yes.
I used to love that show, and I also love the one that Janet Jackson was on, um, Good Times.
Good times.
I
Yes.
loved
Yeah.
Good Times,
I've had a
and the
couple of those
Jeffersons.
people
I
on the
used to
show
love
too.
the Jeffersons too. I loved all those shows.
Yeah. Yeah. They were a lot of fun, a lot of fun shows there. But, well, Rachel, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and sharing with us. And I wish you luck with the Little House on the Prairie reunion that you're going to be having on December 12th through the 14th. And, hopefully on the 75th, we'll have some more of you on again.
Thank you. It was my pleasure to be here. This was so much fun, and I'd come back anytime.
And a big thank you going out to Rachel Lindsay Bush for joining us today on Screen and Beyond. If you want to meet several of the original cast members of Little House on the Prairie and celebrate the 50th anniversary of the heartwarming show, get your tickets for the reunion on December 12th through the 14th at Simi Valley, California. Karen Grassel, Mrs. Ingalls, is going to be there. Allison Angrim for Nellie, and she's going to be there. Dean Butler, Almanzo, and many others are all going to be there. So it's going to be a blast. Tickets are available at Little House on the Prairie /reunions.com/tickets. Okay, that's where you can get them. Well, do you have a suggestion for a guest here at On Screen and Beyond? Email it to me at feedback@onscreenandbeyond.com. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow us everywhere or wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to tell a friend so they too can enjoy some of their favorite TV, movie, and music stars right here on Screen and Beyond as we sit down and talk with them. And that's it. That's a wrap for this episode of On Screen and Beyond. So until next time, when we once again take you on screen and beyond, I'm Brian Zemrak. Take care.